My name is Toby Cypress, and some of the projects I've worked on are Rod Racer, which is my creator-owned book. I wrote and illustrated that. This is my first comic. I'm currently working on a sequel for that. I also worked on a project at Dark Horse called The White Suits, which is a 4-issue miniseries. That came out, I think, 2014. And I have a few other projects that are in development, some science fiction stuff that I'm looking forward to releasing, hopefully in 2016. I first decided to create comics as a career when I was in 4th grade. I saw an ad in a magazine called Dynamite, which featured a Joe Kubert interview. And Joe was talking in the interview about creating comics, and it sounded like exactly what I was looking for as a young kid. So I've been working every day since then. The biggest influence on me outside of comics is probably my grandfather. On my mother's side, he was an art director for Revlon makeup, and he just seemed very happy in his studio working on his own private work. And I think of him every day when it comes to my work, because he just enjoyed what he was doing, and that's what I'm trying to do with my work. When I'm feeling drained on a project, to get my creative juices flowing again, I try to listen to music. I try to get away from comics as far as working on them, and just look and observe more around in the world around me. I play with my stepkids. I go to shows like SPX. There's a lot of creativity going on here. And it gets me excited to get back in the studio and work up some more ideas. My typical work routine, I have a schedule where I like to wake up at about 5 a.m. I like to catch up on the news in the morning with my coffee. And by then, after a good hour or two of watching the news, I'm pretty pissed off. So I want to get away from there and get up into the studio by around 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 or 8. And I try to work on, usually I feel most creative very early in the morning. I feel limber, and a lot of the problem solving seems to come easier in the morning or late at night. I usually work from about 8 o'clock in the morning up to about 6 o'clock at night to have dinner. And I usually don't like to work later than 9 o'clock at night if I can help it. For up-and-coming artists, some advice I would probably give them is to try to explore as much as you can of different art besides comics. Try to read a lot, read books, maybe even take a cinematic course like storytelling, critical analysis of film course that kind of helps you understand narrative symbolism in filmmaking and visual metaphors. I think that helps a lot in problem solving and composition, in understanding what you're communicating with an image. I think get a few years doing as much as you can of drawing different genres and characters, and try and get work freelancing for other people and clients to get to understand how you have to work to make other people happy, like clients happy. And then as you get some experience, you start learning what makes you happy and try and figure out what it is you want in the industry, in comic making or art making, because it's very different trying to make money doing comics or trying to be happy. You have to decide which direction you want and what you want to get out of comics. And I think you'll find a healthy career either way. Either way. So the story behind punk rock jazz, some people have had a hard time describing my artwork. They say my art style is very unique. So for me, I would tell them, well, I listen to a lot of punk rock music. I listen to a lot of jazz music, and I guess maybe, I think I'm trying to capture that element of those two musical genres. So I just thought, punk rock jazz seems to fit with the look of my artwork. It's different, it's lively, it has a bouncy, hip line to it, and it's very carefully composed to have a purpose and a meaning. It's not just, although it might look very wild and crazy, I'm actually trying to compose it in a way that has a purpose. I think where I live influenced my work in a lot, because living in New Jersey, the areas of New Jersey I lived growing up, I grew up in the 80s, and graffiti and breakdancing and hip hop were really big in the New York, New Jersey area growing up. And I ran around with kids who used to take artwork very seriously, and it was very competitive. As kids, graffiti was a big thing, and drawing in sketchbooks, designing new characters and tags in sketchbooks was sort of like a little competition we all had as kids. And so growing up, I learned very early to take artwork seriously, because people are watching and people are noticing, and they're trying to get better, and I wanted to get better as well. I grew up skating at the Jersey beaches, and I loved the whole scene of punk rock and skateboarding and graffiti, and I just absorbed it all, and I think it affected my artwork a lot. Now I moved from New York. I moved to the western New Jersey, which is very hilly and mountainous. It borders the Pennsylvania, and I'm finding that I'm starting to really want to do more fantasy type stuff, And I'm looking around my environment, and I can see stories that I want to tell that involve less urban elements or crime noir stuff, and more fantasy, science fiction type of stuff. I think the happiest moment I've ever had in my art career was when I was in art school, and I was told I entered a competition in art school for a tuition, and I wasn't really expecting to get it. There were a lot of great artists that I went to school with, and one of my instructors encouraged me to enter, and unfortunately there was a $50 fee that went along with entering, which I couldn't afford at the time. But I entered it, and I asked my mother to help me with the fee, and she did. She was happy to help. And I later found out that I was selected for this tuition that helped me go to my final year of art school. And I think on the ride home after learning I've won, I think I was singing and dancing in the car ride home, the whole ride home. I just couldn't contain my excitement, because it was my first time that I felt like what I was trying to do was validated, and I felt like I could actually do this for a living. So I think that was the happiest moment, that I realized I think I have a future for doing this. When I think of out-of-step arts, I think of a group of guys that are very unique with their art style. Neil has a really good eye for interesting, different artwork. And we're all young, and I feel like we're all courageous taking in our art choices. We want to do things in this business that is different, and we want to make a difference for new artists. And for me, it's what I needed for going to shows like this. I always want to just hang out with these guys. We're all friends. We all like the same stuff. I'm always introduced to new music from one of the guys. They're bringing in new music or new movies for me to check out. So it's inspiring to be with these guys. Yeah, there's lots of energy, and we love hanging out with each other, and there's a little bit of competition maybe with when Andrew does something great, I want to do something great. He creates something awesome, I want to do something that makes him go, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. You know, and Alexis is always doing really badass stuff that makes me want to get off my duff and get back to drawing. So